Hey, it's Matt, and I'm flying solo this week. This one's coming out a little bit late on a Tuesday because I'm doing it Tuesday morning. I'll tell you a little bit more about why that's the case. Keep Steve in your thoughts. Steve's got some stuff going on in the family. Steve is okay. The family's okay. Just some long-term things that he has been going through. And keeping him in your thoughts would be a great thing. I'm going to talk a little bit about stress and burnout and real life stuff that recovery helps me face. I am dealing with some pretty significant burnout. I think that's the best way to describe stuff going on in my life right now. And much like anybody who has stress and things going on in recovery, it's not that there was one thing that was causing it, that there was this life crisis event. It's just the accumulation of a whole bunch of stuff in my life. It's the work stuff. It's the family stuff. It's the stuff going on outside of that, the hobbies. I have been in a situation where I haven't been writing. I've been doing the podcast just because I've been in the habit of taping it with Steve. And then we got to the point where Steve couldn't do it because he's got some stuff going on. And it's like, I'm about to miss a week. And this is not a good thing. And it made me realize I'm burnt. And I needed to talk about it because you likely have your own stress going on in your life or have been in a burnout situation. And it's important that you have the tools to deal with this type of stuff because without treatment, the alternative is that you might do some drinking. So let me give you a breakdown of the events that have been going on that I'm realizing leave me really, really burnt. And then I'm going to give you the hope for that. I'm going to tell you about why having even the stuff, the normal stuff that happens in life is still something that you can get through. All right. So breakdown of things that have been going on that have left me with a lot of stress. I'm going to give you the number one thing because it happened more than some of the other things, but I'm going to give you the number one thing. I talked about last week looking into GLP-1 drugs, specifically Wegovy, and that I would talk a little bit about my journey with you because I think GLP-1 drugs have a promise for people with addiction. It sounds from all the research that I have that GLP-1 drugs will help you. I think it does something to the brain that prevents the impulses, the bad impulses, drinking, eating, shopping, biting your nails. These are the things that I've read. And my weight has started to slowly go up from its bottom. And I'm working very hard at that, getting exercise, eating as well as I can. But this is a lifelong struggle that I've had. And I'm realizing I need help. So I went to the doctor and he prescribed Wegovy. If you have experience with these drugs, the insurance companies really put you through the ringer to get approved for it, which is why there are a lot of companies that have compounded GLP-1 drugs that you can get, places like Hims or Ro.co. And I was given before I went in the criteria for how you can get Wegovy approved by insurance. Because without insurance, it's about $1,500 a month. With insurance, $50 is doable. So I went in, told my doctor, here are the things. There is a criteria for you had it for 3 months. You've used Wegovy for 3 months. And you saw a 5% decrease. I don't know how you get into that category if you can't get approved for the drug. So how do you use the drug if you can't get approved for the drug? So that's out. The other category is you are in a comprehensive weight loss plan. Insurance told me the work I've been doing with my doctor counts. Check. And you have a BMI above 30. Check. And I think there's another category there, BMI above 27, but you have a condition like high cholesterol, which you do. Medication handles it. And there was something else in there. Anyways, the ones that I check the boxes for this. And I have had to call because the insurance keeps denying it. But the doctor's office is also not very helpful. If you're like me, your doctor's offices have all consolidated. So now there's like 400 doctors in one office with like 500 PAs and nurse practitioners, and then a centralized support staff. Well, I've dealt with the one person in the medical assistant for my doctor who I've never got a good feeling for. And when I told her I was in there for Wegovy, she's like, well, good luck. You know, we've had a lot of people come in and it never gets approved. So attitude, not great. I've reached out to her before saying, hey, the doctor has prescribed this, but you have to resubmit, and she's refused. So I'm going in there thinking that I get the script. Immediately I get rejected. So I have to call CVS and I have to ask them, why am I rejected? They explain, the pre-approval didn't come through on their paperwork. I get back to the doctor's office. You have to do this, this, and this. They still don't get it. I'm going back and forth with telling the insurer this is where they're missing it, telling my doctor's office this is the form you need to fill out, here are all the things you need to do, and them still not connecting. So I have been putting in a lot of work, and this is sort of a wreckage of the future type thing. And also this is I am having my hands on the wheel too tight. I am taking back control of my will. I have to do everything because I feel like if I don't have to do everything, it's not going to get done. It's the whole put it in your hands of your higher power. And I put it that way that I know I have to do the work, but I'm also ahead saying it's not going to work. I'm stressed because I'm not going to be happy until I get to the other end of it and I have this done. And until then, I'm going to be stressed. That's my choice. My choice in this case is to be stressed. I have legitimate reason not to be happy because I don't feel like anybody's advocating for me. But I did realize in a meeting last night that it's me taking back too much control and not putting it in the hands of a higher power. That comes out with me of I will not be happy until I get to the end that I desire. And that uncertainty in the middle is something that freaks me out. So that's been exhausting because it's just on the phone, off the phone, on the phone, off the phone. Second big thing. And even though you might say, well, Matt, this is a lot bigger of an issue. For me, it wasn't. This is one of those where it was easy to put it into the hands of a higher power. And that is my daughter, Addison. My daughter, Addison, was jumping up and down in the driveway on Friday, playing with her friends. They're like using the hose. They're playing those like slip and slide games. And she's jumping up and down doing a TikTok. And she lands the wrong way. And I guess on the video you can see like the top of her leg is moving forward. The bottom of her leg is moving backwards. And she busted her knee. She's been on crutches since then with a brace. We went to urgent care. Nothing's been broken, but they did refer us to an orthopedic. I am hopeful that it's a strain or something, but it could be an ACL. It could be something else. She's still having a heck of a time putting any weight on this thing. But that's one of those things that I don't know. This didn't stress me that much. This is because I've had knee injuries before. I have been in the case of caring for her of it's going to be what it's going to be. I can't control this. Kids get hurt. The doctors are doing what they can. She's doing what she can, which is taking weight off of it and wearing a brace. And she's moving around on her crutches pretty well. In some ways, it's like a game for her. And I knew that we have good enough insurance that we can take her to doctors that she needs to. We have a children's hospital close to us that is amazing. We have an amazing doctor that's part of that children's practice for orthopedics. So if the worst happens and she needs surgery to repair something, we can do it. And she's 11 years old, which means she's going to recover really quickly. But it's another thing. It's another thing because she is limited. So you have to kind of help with somebody limited like that with what her needs are. I'd say another big thing is financial strain. I do not know if you are like me, but my greatest stressor and the thing that is a character defect for me, this came up in my fourth step, is a financial strain. Money is the biggest trigger for me. And I am constantly telling my wife, we make too damn much to feel this damn poor. If you're a parent and you have kids in athletics, then I think you're like me and you realize that kids athletics is the biggest scam on the planet. I don't remember when I was a swimmer growing up that the fees were like this, but it is outrageous how they bleed you dry with children's athletics. The fees, the travel, volleyball, we were spending like $200 a month or so, maybe more, just traveling places. So this weekend we have to go up to Burlington, Vermont for a tournament. We have to stay like 45 minutes away from the tournament at Smuggler's Notch. Smuggler's Notch is very nice, but it's like $300 a night. And it's a 4-hour drive for the weekend. And now we're going to be hauling somebody likely on crutches. So that's a time sucker. I do not like driving. I do not like driving that far. Once we get there, I think this is going to be a good time. And then I'm finding out that part of the $300 is you get the Smugs Pass. This is what I was worried about. Like Smuggler's Notch is one of those places where everything is a la carte. Great. You pay this money to stay there, but you can't do anything on site because that's a special pass. I'm hearing that that's not the case. So if that's the case and it's $300 a night, okay, that's a different story. Now we're having a little bit more fun. And at the end of the month, we're going to Orlando for my son's volleyball tournament, nationals. That's a big chunk of change. Here is where I'm lucky. I had some stock money that I could withdraw, and that allowed us to get the flight. It's a lot of money to stay down there. I am very fortunate that I can get into one of the big parks down there for no cost because I work for a company that owns it. So there is a lot to be thankful for. But all of this stuff all at once after volleyball season is a lot. And then I see the bills that we still haven't paid. And it's like, and these are the things in recovery that set you off. It's not any one thing. It's all of these things that you put on top of each other. And it's that last straw that you put on there that breaks everything else. And those of you who are listening who are in a good place, and thank God for you, because I need you here too. Part of my recovery is doing this podcast. I hope that I am helping you, but you are helping me more than you could ever know. And I'm sure those of you who are very grounded doing all the right things are saying, Matt, you're not doing your step work, go to more meetings, and you know that you have to accept the things you can't change. There are things in my control here. We couldn't have done sports at all, but that's not fair to the kids. I can't change that my daughter got hurt. Kids get hurt. This is a freak accident. And I'm good with that. The whole medicine thing is a case of I feel like I'm getting screwed over. And that's a trigger of mine. I learned that in the fourth step. It's out of my control. I don't know what the end result's going to look like. I don't know if the people who have to advocate for me are going to do that. It's totally out of my control. I have to let that go. And now that we have paid and accepted that we're going to pay all this money for kids' sports, I have to accept that and make the adjustments. So what are the things that have helped me? Let me back up a second of the burnout, the things that I've missed because of burnout. I do the podcast, and then I write a Substack for recovery. And I read a second Substack on something totally different on Gen X stuff. It's called Gen X Playbook. If you want to go check it out. It's not recovery stuff. It's just based on my life as a Gen Xer, things I grew up with. It's nostalgia. It's one of those things, I do it just to have a release that's totally mindless. I haven't written the last 2 weeks for either blog. Why? Because I just feel like I don't have capacity. And that's also not good, because I got to find time to do that writing, because especially writing a Substack on recovery is helpful for me. It's my journaling process of writing up a Substack about what I talk about here to hit people a different way. But for the most part, it's getting my thoughts out so that I have a place that it's my journaling is what I'm trying to say. So what tools have helped? This helps. I got it out at a step meeting last night. I'm sorry, not a step meeting, a big book meeting. I go to a big book meeting every Monday night. And I always feel kind of bad if I veer off the reading. I feel like in a big book meeting, this is me personally, that I have to keep my share tied to the reading. And we read about step 4 and 5-ish last night. But I didn't care. I'm like, I got to do what I got to do here. And I shared in a shorter amount what I'm sharing with you now, which is this what's going on with me. And then I tied it back to the steps. This is really about, I got to go backwards, and I got to think about, am I building a resentment? Am I taking my hand off the wheel? Is there some kind of higher power that I've got to trust in, that I'm going to get through this through the help of a higher power? Hey, here's something else. Reaching out to people. Not doing a great job with that. I'm good reaching out to my family and close friends and saying, I have this going on and I just need you to listen. I'm good at that. I'm very open with that, but it's tough to just even pick up the phone and text the people I know around me in recovery. And that's a harm, because then with those people, I'm losing connection. I'm not reaching out to people, and therefore I am depriving them an opportunity to feel better about themselves by helping me. Because if you don't call me and ask me for help, you are depriving me an opportunity for feeling better by helping you. So I'm going to do that today. I think that's going to help quite a bit. My exercise routine is solid. Very rarely am I not getting some type of exercise. My goal every single day is to get 10,000 steps. I just set that up as a goal. How I get there could be different, many different ways. But I take the dogs. If I can take them for a 3-mile walk, I try doing that, and then they're all worn out. But the dogs need it. The days I don't start off with the gym or a 2-3 mile walk, I feel different. And today's one of those days. I got up late. I wasn't feeling great this morning. I was exhausted, and I didn't go for my walk. I'm going to have to find a way to get my walk today at some point during the day, because if I don't, I'm going to be a basket case. The weather doesn't help. But I think the number one thing that really helps me is getting out there and taking a brisk walk, a long walk, getting at least my 10,000 steps. I feel better. I've been so good at that I wore my sneakers out and I had to go get some new sneakers. Big Hoka guy. I got my Hoka sneakers, and those things are like, oh, they're wonderful. I'm not doing the prayer and meditation. I'm doing the journaling. You know that I have some God issues. But I think some type of meditation on what my higher power looks like is something helpful. What would I have done in the past if I wasn't in recovery? I would definitely be drinking. Because I see in these situations, I go for like a chocolate chip cookie. But I would be drinking. I don't even know if it would be, man, I need a drink to get through this. But it would definitely be, I would be drinking too much right now. I'd probably be drinking every night, 1 or 2 beers a night, because I feel like I need that outlet. And then getting into that pattern, it would be tough to then stop and not do it every day. I'm not doing that. I have to look at that as an enormous win, that I'm going through some of this stress and I have the tools to get through it without drinking. And that I have things I can do to get through it, even if I don't feel perfect. And another thing that has helped, if I need extra rest, I'm going to bed. I struggle at going to bed at night. I struggle with shutting my mind down, but I am, if I need to, sleep till 7 instead of waking up at 6, I'm doing that because that's some self-care that I need. I need to catch up on rest. I'm just not in a great place with that. And talking this through, that this will pass. And if I can get through the stress of this, then I can enjoy I need to be in that place of, well, you spent all this money, dummy. You might as well go enjoy Burlington. You might as well enjoy Smugs. You might as well enjoy going to Orlando with your family. This is the first time that my kids will have ever been on a flight. That's going to be an incredible experience. So I love getting feedback from you. I have had people reach out to me when they hear this stuff and it resonates, or those of you who yell and say, you're doing this wrong. I love that. Matt at soberfriendspod.com. On social media all over the place at soberfriendspod. If you're feeling burnt out, you're not alone. There's a way through this. We can get through this together. All right. That's our episode for this week. I look forward to, the journey. Let you know where we are. Keep Steve in your thoughts. We'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.